Welcome to this explainer. I am so glad you're tuning in today because we're looking at a topic that touches almost every single home, especially if you're raising kids. As mothers, fathers, and just community members, we are constantly navigating how to build these beautiful, joy-filled lives for our families while still staying absolutely true to our values. So today, we're talking about birthdays. We're going to look closely at the Islamic perspective on this totally ubiquitous modern tradition. And I want to speak directly to my fellow parents right now. We all want the absolute best for our children. We want them to feel special, to feel loved, but finding that balance between what society expects and what our faith requires, it can feel really, really tricky. So let's unpack this together in a completely open, spontaneous, and empathetic way.
Okay, let's dive into this. The immediate thought most of us have is, come on, it's literally just a slice of cake, a couple of balloons, and a nice present. What's the big deal? And I completely get that. There is this immense, almost suffocating social pressure to just go along with the crowd. When every kid in your child's class is throwing a massive party, or when your colleagues are constantly bringing treats to the office, stepping back feels awkward. It kind of feels like you're making a mountain out of a molehill. But the question we really have to ask ourselves as believers is whether we're just looking at the surface level here, or if there's a much deeper theological reality we might be missing entirely.
Section 1. The Modern Birthday Dilemma. And that brings us right to the core friction we face today. A very common sentiment we hear all the time, and it's a totally understandable one, is, well, Islam is a religion of ease. It doesn't reject happiness, so why ban a simple day of joy? I mean, isn't that just being unnecessarily strict? I really want to validate this viewpoint because the intentions behind it are usually so pure. You love your family, and you just want to celebrate them. But it's fascinating to realize that the reality of this prohibition actually isn't about restricting happiness at all, not even a little bit. It's really about protecting our faith and maintaining our totally unique spiritual identity as Muslims.
To truly wrap our heads around this, it helps to take a step back and look at how drastically our societal norms have shifted. Just a couple of generations ago, this massive cultural demand for birthday parties, it just didn't exist in the Islamic world. In fact, if you brought this up to our grandparents or great-grandparents, they were genuinely baffled by the whole concept. They wondered, quite logically actually, why on earth someone would throw a party to celebrate the fact that a whole year of their life has passed, bringing them 1 year closer to the end of their lives and their meeting with Allah. It's a profound shift in mindset. What was once viewed as an incredibly strange concept has somehow morphed into an unavoidable cultural expectation.
Section 2. Eids as acts of worship.
So, to grasp why our faith takes a specific stance on this, we have to transition from a purely cultural mindset to a theological one. Because in Islam, an Eid, a festival or a celebration, isn't just a random party. It is a profound matter of divine legislation. So the crucial point is understanding the actual definition of an Eid. The scholars agree that an Eid is any occasion that is repeatedly revived on the exact same day or date every single year. It's an event that keeps coming back around, carrying specific cultural or religious weight. Now, some people try to find a little loophole by changing the name. They might say, well, I don't call it a birthday, I call it a birth anniversary or just a family gathering. But changing the label doesn't change the reality, right? If it's a date you commemorate annually with specific rituals, congratulations, and gifts, it functions as an Eid. And creating a new Eid is an unlegislated innovation in our religion.
You see, Islam has clearly outlined the boundaries of our celebrations. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, has divinely appointed our days of joy and worship. As Muslims, we have Eid al-Fitr after Ramadan, Eid al-Adha during the time of Hajj, and, of course, our weekly Eid, which is Friday, Jumu'ah. These are our legislated festivals. They're days where our joy, our eating, and our gathering are literally rewarded as acts of worship. When we step outside of these and start adopting the recurring festivals of other nations, we're stepping outside of the beautiful divine legislation intended just for us.
Section 3. The danger of blind imitation.
This leads us directly into a very serious concept in our faith, the danger of blind imitation or tashabbur. To understand how spiritually dangerous this is, there's a brilliantly illustrative, stark warning from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He prophesied that people from his nation would follow the ways of the nations before them, specifically the Jews and Christians, step by step, inch by inch. He said that even if they entered the dark, foul-smelling hole of a lizard, you would follow them right into it. And this brilliantly illustrates the absolute absurdity of blindly copying non-Muslim trends. It really asks us to pause and reflect. Are we leading with our beautiful, pure faith, or are we just blindly walking into a lizard's hole simply because everyone else is doing it?
Now, you might be thinking, but a birthday is totally secular. It's not a religious holiday.
But here's the thing. Adopting the recurring festivals of others risks inadvertently validating the theological beliefs behind them. Things like lighting a specific number of candles and blowing them out to make a wish. These practices actually originate from ancient creeds and pagan rituals that directly contradict our core belief in Tawhid, our pure monotheism. Even if we strip away the religious intent in our own minds, we're still participating in a ritual that fundamentally belongs to a completely different spiritual paradigm.
Section 4. Navigating Children's Expectations. For all the moms and dads out there who worry about causing a psychological complex or who feel like denying their child a party is going to make them feel unloved, we really have to remember a beautiful truth. Children are born upon the fitra, right? That pure, innate disposition to recognize and submit to their creator. A baby doesn't come out of the womb demanding a superhero-themed birthday party. It's the parents, the environment, and society that shape those expectations. Now, yes, young children aren't religiously accountable for their actions yet, so they aren't sinning by wanting a party. But as parents, we absolutely are accountable for the habits, the boundaries, and the worldview that we instill in their fertile, open hearts.
Let's see how this builds, and what happens when we compromise out of guilt. It's essentially the trap of habit. First, you introduce the celebration when they're a toddler, thinking, oh, it's just this one time. Second, their expectations escalate yearly. Suddenly, the gifts have to get bigger, the party has to get grander. And third, when that child gets older and you finally decide, okay, they're mature now, let's stop this un-Islamic practice. What happens? It causes massive rebellion, resentment, and family friction. The child views your sudden religious strictness as a withdrawal of your love, simply because you trained them to equate that specific day with your love in the first place.
So what is the practical, completely guilt-free solution here? It is all about shifting the focus. We should absolutely reject celebrating the passive passage of time. Getting older literally takes zero effort. Instead, we should lavishly celebrate their active milestones. Did your child memorize a new chapter of the Quran? Did they excel in their exams? Did they master a new sport or a beneficial skill? Throw a huge party, shower them with gifts, tell them how incredibly proud you are. This is what builds a confident, resilient kid who associates joy and reward with actual achievements and Islamic excellence, rather than just flipping a page on the calendar.
Section 5. The ruling on assisting.
Now, for the small business owners, bakers, or friends who think they're totally in the clear by just baking the cake for someone else or dropping off a gift without actually attending, we have to ground ourselves in a foundational Quranic principle. Allah commands us in the Quran, and cooperate in righteousness and piety, but do not cooperate in sin and aggression. This means that our transactions, our social etiquette, and even our businesses carry real spiritual weight. We're commanded to help one another do good and strictly forbidden from facilitating things that contradict our faith.
Now, what's really interesting here is seeing how everyday actions fit into this. Indirect cooperation includes simply saying, happy birthday, giving a gift specifically for that occasion, baking custom birthday cakes, or selling specific birthday party supplies. I know this can sound tough, especially if you are a really talented baker just trying to make a living or just a friend trying to be polite. But by providing the tools or the congratulations for the event, we are inadvertently validating and reinforcing an innovation. We're essentially helping to keep a practice alive that our faith explicitly asks us to leave behind.
Sometimes people try to find a middle ground. They'll say, okay, I'll host a gathering, but no music, no singing, and we'll just call it a family day cake. But as we touched on earlier, modifying the aesthetics doesn't change the essence of what's happening. Changing the name of the cake or turning off the music absolutely does not remove the underlying issue, which is reviving an unlegislated Eid. The ultimate goal of these guidelines isn't to make your life difficult or boring. It is to protect the absolute purity of our faith from being diluted by endless cultural compromises. I want to leave you with this final, incredibly important question. When we look at the traditions we are bringing into our homes, we have to ask ourselves, are we leaving our children a fleeting sugar rush and temporary social validation, or are we building an unshakable foundation of faith? You have the power to raise leaders who are wildly proud of their Islamic identity, who don't feel the need to blend into every single cultural trend. It definitely takes a bit of courage at first, for sure, but the peace of mind and the spiritual safety of your family is worth infinitely more than a slice of cake. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. May you and your families be blessed with true, lasting joy.